Hi, my name is Anissa. I'm very excited to be here at Moving Trans History Forward 2023 and to be presenting my work, Goldilocks and the Three Voice Actors, Gender Expression and its Representations in Video Games. This study was motivated by two key questions. What linguistic cues are used to create fictional gender non-conforming or GNC/non-binary character voices, and are these the same ones that GNC individuals use to index gender nonconformity? Thus, my main goal was to see if a key linguistic cue of gender nonconformity of actual GNC individuals is present in the construction of GNC video game character voices. How? With case studies that look at the linguistic differences between two characters, one cisgender and one GNC, that are voiced by the same cisgender voice actor. To investigate this, I looked at two phonetic variables or sound aspects of one's voice, especially with regard to S. The first one is SCOG, or center of gravity, which is the average of all frequencies of a given S sound, weighted by their intensity. Hasenberg looks at this and finds that cisgender women and cisgender men define the high and low extremes of center of gravity, respectively, with all women groups, including trans women, having a higher center of gravity than all men groups, including trans men. I also looked at S duration, or the length of time taken to produce an S sound. Willis looks at this and finds that gender, or the interaction of gender and sexuality, has no significant effect, meaning that S duration does not index gender nonconformity. With this in mind, I had two main hypotheses. One, that there will be significant differences for S center of gravity, with GNC characters voiced by male voice actors having higher center of gravity than their cisgender counterparts, and vice versa for female voice actors. Second, there will be no significant differences for S duration. Now, let's get into the case studies. The first case study is Geraldine Blecker, who is a cisgender woman. The cisgender character of this case study is Blecker herself. This is because she is predominantly a writer, not a voice actor, but she has done much audio recording work for advertising. The GNC character is Shale from Dragon Age Origins. This is the only GNC character in this study with no computer audio manipulation applied post-recording. The character itself is a genderless golem, or a being made of stone, who has a sassy retort if you comment on its previous gender identity, which we will hear right after listening to Blecker right now.
I'm a stork from Timbuktu, and they've put me in a zoo in the hinterlands of London's Regent's Park.
Why? Should I wear a flower on my head? Should I take up an interest in knitting? The truth is that whatever gender I was is irrelevant now.
And for reference, here's the official concept art for Shale. The second case study is Peter Canavese, who is a cisgender male. Both characters from this case study come from the same video game, Hades. The cisgender character is Zeus, who simply put is leader of the Olympian gods. The GNC character is Chaos, an otherworldly primordial being, described as both my mother and my father by other characters. Additionally, Chaos has a voice that has undergone heavy computer audio manipulation post-recording. Let's take a listen.
Greetings there, young man. Look, your father's always been rather difficult, and he's not so much as called in quite some time.
You wish to leave this place? Then it is my wish to make your doing so a little bit more interesting.
And for reference, here's their official character art. The third and final case study is Allegra Clark, who is a cisgender female. The cisgender character is Josephine Montiglier from Dragon Age Inquisition, a human advisor with Italian accented speech. The GNC character is Bloodhound from Apex Legends, a non-binary human hunter with an Old Norse accent. Additionally, Clark herself is noted to alter her voice to sound lower, in addition to mild audio manipulation post-recording to create the sound of the character's rebreather mask. Let's take a listen.
His Grace's position is not so strong as he presents it. Despite their Ferelden relations, the Duralions are our legion.
I prepared this trial that others might test their skills, but perhaps I can join briefly.
And once again, for reference, here's their official concept art. And here's a summary. To investigate this, I extracted audio and measured approximately 50 tokens of both variables for statistical analysis. However, for time, I don't go heavily into the statistics here. But I do have some graphs. Each graph here is a pair of box plots for each case study, the orange box plots representing the cisgender characters and the teal box plots representing the GNC characters. For those unfamiliar with box plots, each is the representation of the range of values from lowest to median to highest, which I use Bloodhound's box plot to show. With this in mind, the most important thing to note here for S duration is that each pair of box plots has a high amount of overlap, meaning that there are absolutely no significant differences across the board for S duration, so hypothesis supported. However, for S center of gravity, we see a much different story. There is much less overlap between each pair of characters, meaning that there are significant differences across the board, the most extreme difference being with Clark, and the least extreme difference or most overlap being with Canavese. Additionally, AFAB GNC characters go lower than their cisgender counterparts, and vice versa for AMAB GNC characters. So, hypothesis supported. So GNC video game characters seem to, at least for S, have the same cues as actual GNC individuals. The order from greatest difference to smallest difference is Clark, Blecker, then Canavese. An important detail to remember is that Chaos has drastic computer audio manipulation applied to their voice, with Shale only having actor manipulation and Bloodhound having a bit of both and a milder manipulation. So, this is a little bit like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Shale with no manipulation is too little, Chaos with extreme manipulation is too much, and Bloodhound with a small mix of both is just right and creates the most significant effect. But is the most significant difference also the most ecologically valid? In other words, is the degree of difference between the characters in Clark's case study actually representative of what actual GNC or non-binary individuals are doing differently from cisgender individuals? Unfortunately, it's unclear. There is simply not a large enough pool of data on non-binary agender individuals in linguistic research to compare at a more general level. For example, in Hasenberg's study, only 3 of the GNC speakers are considered gender fluid or non-binary, the rest being binary trans. So, in conclusion, all hypotheses are supported. The order from greatest difference to smallest difference for COG is Clark, Blecker, then Canavese, and this has a couple of implications. One, GNC characters, at least with regard to S, seem to have the same linguistic cues applied to them as actual GNC individuals, and a mix of manipulation at both an actor and computer level are necessary to create the most acoustically dramatic or significant effect. However, much more research is needed in order to help determine the ecological validity of these results. Thank you so much for watching, and I sincerely hope you enjoyed.